Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays offside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sills.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Gull'S View. We're going to be reviewing the festive period and the FA Trophy game from the weekend just gone. We've got Tom, Chris and Clive. Right, we'll go back to Boxing Day. That's a long time ago now, isn't it? Great away day in terms of, I had a great time. The football, not quite the result we wanted, was it? Well, we'll go with Clive, actually. We'll start with you on that game. What are your thoughts of Weymouth away?
Well, 2 points chucked away, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They're bottom of the league. They're doing a bit better, I think, under Feeney, who's come in and probably got them playing for each other a bit more. But it was poor, wasn't it? Two bad goals defensively. Hammond threw the first one in. I thought he was much less to blame with the second one. Cody scoring in front of the away end was a great moment. And it was a good day. We had a good following there. And I had my first pint of Guinness Zero, which was an experience. And I would, in fact, recommend.
It's good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very nice. No, I agree. I think my take from that game was that we obviously 2-1 up. I felt quite confident, actually. A team that's been very well defensively sorted for a long time now. But those two goals are just like talking of old a bit, really. They're such the same goal, basically. The fact that, I praise the back four so much, but it's just they were all completely out of shape, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. The same two goals where Toss or whoever it was just let their man free, and at any level you can't leave like professional footballers that much space. So it's something we'll punish. So I do agree. It was 2 points dropped. We just my thing. We move into more of a Truro. Brilliant result that was the Truro game, but I just want to see us. We've done so well to get to where we are. I just want to see us just back ourselves more in that final third. Just ask more questions. We've got such a good team. It's just too conservative. I know if you keep the ball a lot and you're patient, that means you're not conceding chances. But we're just not. We just don't back ourselves. Our starting to get quite frustrated in stage of the Truro game. We've got such good players. I want to see us just throw a few more bodies forward and just. I think it's almost criminal at times that we've got Cody Cook, who's, look at his goal ratio, you think, oh, we great, but we don't, some games go, we don't give him a chance, that's just from a set piece. I just want to see a few more crosses into the box. I just want to see a few more, let's back ourselves on that final third. That's what I take away from the festive period. Anything else to add, Tom or Chris, on the Weymouth game?
It's frustrating because I think it's a sort of game where I don't think Heyman made a save. He made one block.
Quite.
But which in itself is frustrating because he should have made a save the first goal. There's no doubt that goes down as a goalkeeping mistake. But I guess that makes it more frustrating because actually they scored for pretty much their two dangerous attacks of the game, which makes it all more frustrating. They did miss a good
chance at 2-1 as well. To be fair, they did miss a good chance. Head over the bar.
Yeah, and it was a bit behind him. They had a couple of kind of half chances, but not chances. They weren't. That volley near the end when it was 2-2 was the decentest chance, I suppose. But Heyman's not made a save, has he? Which I guess is partly the problem. But it was just disappointing because, of course, what our big strength is, as Paul said after the game, our main strength this year has been how solid we've been defensively and how increasingly over the last kind of 8-10 weeks we've kept a lot of clean sheets, and that gives you a good chance, as you saw against Truro, because Truro had some chances and Heyman made a couple of good saves in that game. But if you keep a clean sheet, you might win the game, and you might that little bit of quality in the last 10 minutes wins you the game, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I agree. Tom?
Yeah, it's the away form, isn't it? It's the away form that could potentially decide
$1 million question
how successful our season's going to be. At home, we're very solid, but going to Weymouth away, yes, they were going to up it a little bit with the localish derby. But we should be winning that. We should be winning that. And it's another poor mistake from Hammond. I know he's kept us in a lot of games this season, but he's shown he's got the odd mistake in him, as I suppose a lot of other keepers at this level do. I was listening to it on the radio, driving home from work, and listening to the great Paul Mulhern on the radio, and it's just defensive frailties which we've not really seen this season.
It all happened.
Very rare. Just sounded like a bit of an off day. We've got a point out of it. It's a disappointing result. We haven't lost. We backed it up on New Year's Day with a win, which was very important. I think it's just one of those where you're going to get some odd results in the build-up to the rest of the season. So Yeah,
Mm.
a frustrating
I-
afternoon, a frustrating Boxing Day. Typical Torquay United, really. Bottom v top,
Mm.
and us being at the top, and we
yeah,
haven't been able to take advantage. But for me, it's just one of those things, really. Yeah, the concern for me going into this year is we've got to go to a lot of the top seven away from home. And if we're very serious about being genuine title contenders and winning this league automatically, we're going to have to go to teams a lot stronger than Weymouth, Dorking, Maidstone, these places where we haven't won in our recent history. So yeah, the home form's really good, but I don't know. Away from home, we still seem a little bit suspect to me, even though we've only lost once. Since that we've not lost in the league since God, where was it? Hornchurch,
Mm.
which you've got to keep in mind because that was about
Yeah,
three
so
odd months ago.
yeah, yeah.
very true.
And
I think the odd thing as well, Tommy, just on that Weymouth game, the odd thing was, I mean, that was the hardest game Drea's had.
Mm,
Not because I think he was particularly poor. What was odd about it was that they just kept playing. It was quite a windy day, but they just kept playing a long kind of diagonal ball. They were going from back to front quite quickly. They were missing out the midfield quite a lot. I mean, they had Malachi Linton up front, who we faced before when he was at Yeovil. And he's just very physical, but he's also
Good
got a
player.
bit. He's also quite quick when he got the ball down, but they kept playing a diagonal ball kind of into that half and half space. So it wasn't kind of close enough that you could go and attack it. And if you took a step back, you then had to take a step forward. So, and that diagonal ball kind of, it led to the first goal,
yeah.
but time and again in the first half. And I mean, I think Dre was booked from memory, and then he dealt with a couple of attacks well in the second half when he was nearly away from him. So tactically, it was a really odd game because it wasn't like, it wasn't just long ball, long ball, long ball, long ball. It was that diagonal ball kind of in the half and half between the fullback and the centre back that really caused us quite a lot of problems. And we never fully dealt with. And I think that was, again, defensively led to a few shaky moments, whether that mentally leads to, what then followed with, we ended up a bit all over the place and a bit torn, but pulled over for the equaliser. Good finish, both good finishes from Brandon Goodchip, but we ended up just a bit all over the place, kind of
We were.
defensively. Yeah,
It's so weird.
was
So
a bit
weird.
one of those days, wasn't it?
We're not like
Yeah,
that, and that just shows what I mean by sometimes, as you just described there, Chris. Putting sort of those sort of balls just unsettles a team. I feel sometimes it's too easy for teams.
yeah,
It's the two goals we had. I mean, the first goal was brilliant. If you pause it just before the ball came in, a lovely ball in by Throwcult. You
yeah,
pause it and
lovely.
you look at that, and you've got like Carson's got an option for an overlap. There's three different very good runs in the box. That's what
Mm.
we need to do more. It's the fact that we ask these questions
Yeah,
and just unsettle a defence sometimes. When we've got the ball in our defence, yeah, I know you're trying to get the opposition out of position, but just unsettling them and putting the ball into Cook. I think it's been said
it's
a lot
about
of the times. We talk about Sills and Benyon, don't we? I know you don't play two up front anymore in this day and age,
yeah,
but like as such, especially when in a 4-3-3. But even when we did, it's just like when Cook wins a flick on, I want to see someone there. Amount of
yeah,
flick
and
ons that Cook's won, and I just don't think it really
yeah.
goes anywhere. And that
I would
just
agree,
makes it easy for
Swanee.
opposition.
And I think what was odd about that game as well is that it was kind of, it wasn't because you think about, at times we go quite direct, especially in at home where you're kind of trying to get those balls into Cook and you've got Young or Moose or whoever playing off Cook. But awful if you think about a lot of those balls that go into Cook go with his back to goal. What they found a way of doing was to kind of get Dreyer turned so that they're running towards the ball. So you've got that kind of uncertainty as it drops. But an awful lot of the more direct balls to kind of get out and kind of get the play up the pitch we play is Cook's back to goal. So he's flicking it on, but he flicks it to no one, or he's trying to hold the ball up and bring others in. But we don't seem to have a way of turning that and playing Cook with this kind of going that way. So we can kind of go into those spaces. So yeah, it was just a very... Yeah,
He's
this is a
not
very
really
frustrating
very
day.
quick, is he? So it's difficult, really.
Yeah, yeah. But I think if you can get people those kind of those balls in behind where it kind of bounces and then it's a bit of a scrap as to who's going to win it, you can pick
And
up
the
a second ball.
then comes
Someone
up
else
for it.
can
It's the
win it.
second
So
ball to
yeah,
keep it. Yeah.
yeah.
Just
And we just lost.
percentage of
We
it,
lost
isn't
quite a
it?
lot of second balls in that
Yeah.
game, which I think in general for us, certainly in the Truro game, particularly in the second half. And then when we went to 10 men, we won every second ball, which is important when it breaks out.
Yeah, we're going to Truro then. So obviously, even though obviously Hammond got some stick for the goal, I thought he was absolutely solid. And it wasn't just the saves, every cross he claims. I mean,
Yeah,
I feel like he's a keeper will just have these off days, unfortunately. But when he's on it, he's so on it. And that's a disappointing thing with him as a goalkeeper, because if he didn't have that inconsistency, he probably would be a National League keeper, I think. But just where he is, but he was absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, every time he plays Truro, he just seems to be brilliant for us. So yeah, some fantastic saves. That game though, For me, first half I was quite happy actually for quite a bit of it. I thought we were okay. Though I was very disappointed from this first half an hour to the goal really of the second half. I thought Truro were a much better team than us, and I thought we just didn't really show up in front of the crowd. Luckily, it was a moment of magic, and the one time we did go right, let's just have a go, really, it goes in. And like it what a player Young is. I just feel like I want to see that more. I was getting really frustrated in that second half because I'm like, we're such a good team, I think, going forward, and we're not brave enough. We just and if we want to win leagues, you've got to score the goals. Um, I don't know, Clive, what are your thoughts on Churro?
Yeah, I thought maybe we edged the win. We played well. Hammond did make some good saves. That's very true. He also flapped at a couple of very poor punches within that performance. Yeah, Young can do that, can't he? More often than not, he won't. More often than not, it goes wrong. And of course, there's a quite widely seen clip taken from the pop side. Was it your dad that filmed it?
No.
He's picked the ball up. He's jinking inside. He's jinking inside a bit more. He keeps going across the face of the box, and probably most people would have been thinking what this guy vocalized very, very loudly. Basically, pass the ball. You ain't going to score for. Oh, he did. He has scored. It was a wonderful moment.
It was brilliant.
I think it was in the corner. Some people have said maybe their keeper should have got it. I think he might.
He sees it very late.
I think that's harsh.
Yeah, I'd give credit to Young for that. And
wet pitch
with the biggest crowd we've had at Playmore for a competitive game for many a season. It was a fantastic way to see in the new year. I'm saying, was it New Year's Day? It was, wasn't it?
It was.
What a victory! It cannot be understated what a victory that was in our season.
Yeah, it was big, and what it ultimately gave us was 4 points from the 2 games. I'm still disappointed with Weymouth, but 4 points, and we stayed top of the league. It was another clean sheet. We defended well again. Brilliant. You know, the more the merrier from that point of view. Yeah,
it cannot be understated how, even though at times I voice my frustration about going forward, how well, forget the Weymouth 2 goals, how well this defence has been coached, because and how good players they are as well. Because the amount of times I've been when we were editing that documentary, we were talking about the defence, the amount of goals we've considered last year, soft, stupid goals. You know, to have that understanding between the keeper and defence is absolutely superb. Honestly, it cannot be stated how well that works as a unit as well as individuals in defence, and that showed. I know you make your own luck in football, I always believe, and we did have our own luck, to be honest. When that hit the bar and they couldn't contact, but I thought the resilience of the whole team was absolutely superb. Just if that game finishes 0-0, though, it'd be a bit of a different story, because I want to see us create, just believe in ourselves in the front three more, get a few more bodies forward, just ask a few more questions, because these teams are vulnerable. I just want to see. There's a couple of times, I think at times we don't use the home crowd enough, or don't mentally get in the opposition enough, because there's little things you can do, right? I know there's a short corner debate, and every fan hates a short corner, right? And I remember the now Swansea manager, was it Luke Williams, was it Notts County, saying, "Oh, statistically, actually, more short corners lead to goals." I don't think that's now true, because look what Arsenal do. But and you look in the Premier League, but there's times.
In fairness, though, Swanee, let's be honest, Arsenal's corners, they come from GBH in the penalty area, don't they? If anybody's actually enforcing the rules, none of those goals will be allowed.
That's what you need to do. But so what I'm saying is, we had a couple of chances. We're out of momentum. We get a corner. You've got 5,000 fans there, right?
Get it in.
Get everyone to lap the fans up. Lap everything up. Get the place rocking. We put a short corner, lose it, and we can see the yellow card. Little things like that. I just want us to be a bit more wise. I just want us to really, we've got our crowd. Get a few balls. We talk about the sort of balls that Weymouth were doing. Just puts the defender under. He's got to clear it out for throw and just get the momentum. We can't really get that and get into the opposition heads when we're passing it. I know that's how football is, and I know you've got to draw people out. But sometimes when we're being a bit too conservative, we don't make the most. And just mentally ask questions. As soon as Young ran at them and put that shot, they fell apart. And that's what we need to do to a lot more teams if we're serious about winning the league. Chris, go for it.
I agree with you. I'd certainly, as an old school football fan, I like to see corners going in the box. Yeah. But for balance, there was a goal a couple of weeks ago where Matty Carson ended up putting in a beautiful cross from
Yeah,
a
that
little
can
work. I think it might have been a free kick down the left-hand side, either either a corner or a free kick.
Yeah, it was
That
against
well.
Horsham. Yeah,
There is,
Yes.
thanks, mate. There is more than one way of skinning a cat.
There definitely is. There definitely is.
Mm.
I think my problem was that they did it before anyone else was ready in the box. And I'm like, oh, come on. That was our chance to get a bit of momentum. You know, if it's well worked, I don't care. But like, it's just little times like that. I just want us to get in the heads of the opposition a bit more, mentally just tire them out. Sometimes we're a little bit too easy. Go on, Chris.
There's a goal at Enfield where we scored from a short corner where Thomas played it short to Young, but that was a little bit different because that was just before they'd set and they'd kind of like, oh, they've taken it, as opposed to trying to make it from a short corner. But yeah, I mean, I think from the what was interesting about the Truro game was the inclusion of Morgan over Musa, because I love watching Musa. I think he's an exciting footballer. I don't think we've seen enough end product from him yet, but he did just give you that little bit more in terms of getting out, running at people. He skinned a fullback a couple of times, got a couple of balls in, can check inside, can go either way. And again, there was more evidence there that he looks like a player worth having. But again, did we get Young and Morgan in the game enough for a home game? Yes, it was against a side at the top of the league, but actually they didn't get in the game that much. One of the different elements to how we played, because I think we did play differently with Musa, but then I thought Musa did really well when he came on, because we were down to 10 men for quite a lot of the time, and he was on as well after that slightly odd sending off, and he worked and he ran and he tracked and he closed and he did everything that he probably wasn't doing a few months ago.
I thought Musa coming on was the game-changing moment, to be fair. I thought as soon as he came on, we started pushing forward a bit more, and we had that little bit of impetus to go for it, because from the beginning of the second half, Truro were all over us for the extent. Although we did keep Tyler Harvey quite quiet, which I found quite encouraging.
I didn't realise he was playing.
I don't even think that he was on the pitch, to be honest. But sometimes you need a bit of luck sometimes if you're going to win leagues or get promoted from this division. And I think what's been highlighted for us this season is, say if we weren't to finish, if we were to finish in the playoffs, how finishing second is going to be vital with our home form.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic I think it's absolutely fantastic that we were able to attract over 5,000 inside Playmore, which again, just kudos to everyone at the club for reigniting our love for Torquay United after a challenging last 12 months. But yeah, it was I think what we were expecting, a very tough game. Truro, very good side. They brought a rather vocal fan base in their sold out away end allocation. But at the end of the day, in those games, you just got to find a way to win. And we found a way to win, made it a bit more difficult for us in the last 10 minutes or so. But ultimately, the unbeaten run continues. And we're still top of the league, because had we not got a result there, we would have fallen to second, because I think Boreham Wood won. So yeah, very vital, very vital.
I think the sending off at the time was frustrating. Was frustrating because you thought, what a thin way to get sent off. But when you, having seen them back, actually, again, it's the classic to the letter of the law. He was. I mean, the second one looked worse on the replay than it did at the time. At the time, it looked like he was just kind of sliding in trying to win it. But we all know in the modern game you can't do that, and he clearly does it. And having been booked, tackling like that is silly.
Into that on a yellow.
It's a silly tackle, especially when you're on a yellow card, regardless if it's soft or not. It's a silly challenge.
I know the momentum and adrenaline's behind him, but you just
but you've just gone 1-0 up in a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't put that unnecessary pressure. Although it seems like we seem to defend better when we've got 10 men on the pitch, so maybe it was a tactical masterclass from him. I don't know.
Yeah. And actually, as he walked off, he went like that. He was walking off, as he was walking towards the gate, he went as if to say sorry. I think he knew straight away. Didn't he?
Good thing we won then. Could you imagine how we lost that?
There we are.
He didn't have the best Christmas period, but I think he's a great player. Clive, anything to add on all that?
Yeah. Footballers are thick, aren't they? Sometimes that's the trouble. So I felt for Jordan Thomas, and I'd like to talk a little bit more, firstly, about this new, if you wave an imaginary card, you must be booked rule, because I absolutely understand it. I don't think we want to see dissent from players. However, it seems as though you can run up to a referee and scream in his face, and as long as you don't make the gesture, you may well get away without the card.
Yeah,
Chelmsford.
The specific facts of his booking were that he'd beaten a player on the touchline in front of the pop side, and the guy then manually held him back. You could see his shirt was a foot away from his body because of the tug. It was a clear, obvious yellow card for the guy. And he just gets up and sort of goes like that. What the referee had in the forefront of his mind at that point was, oh, there's been a directive about that, hasn't it? I must book him because the assessor will say I've done a
That's
good job
naughty.
there. It's absolute rubbish.
I hate it, and it's
just nonsense.
Always seems to be against us as well.
Well, no, I don't go along with that. And actually, we've got at least 3 examples.
I bloody do.
Of Torquay players getting booked for doing it. We've had Drea twice.
Yeah, Palmer. Yeah, when Palmer literally
and we've had Thomas. Now, the first thing is that actually they bloody need to stop doing it because it's stupid. Because it doesn't matter whether we think it shouldn't be a yellow card. It is a yellow card, and that's detrimental for the team. Yeah. But actually, I think referees, they might not be supposed to do it, and they might not get brownie points for it, but a little bit of discretion in a case like that wouldn't be the end of the world. Because going like that, when you've just literally been dragged into the pop side, is not the first example of dissent you're ever going to see, is it?
No,
it's not. No.
So I feel as though that was disproportionate. It was a daft tackle because he couldn't really get the ball. I don't know what he was thinking.
No. Was he trying to keep the ball in play and he just didn't quite take it in?
That's what it was. I think he was maybe trying to hook around the defender, but it was very ill judged.
Yeah.
And nobody, he hasn't got, like the guy he kicked, he hasn't got a leg to stand on, has he? We know that. And that's the end of our refereeing chat for tonight, guys.
But having said that, Clive, I would also argue it's a very modern sending off, isn't it? In terms of yes, the imaginary card, but having been booked, I would argue, and again, maybe this is my yellow eyes. We're looking at this. I would argue that if I'm a referee, when I was a kid watching football, referees didn't want to send people off. They didn't want to do it. But now they all look at me. I'm waving my cards around. That referee could have gone, hey, I've booked you. Why one more of those, and that's it. He didn't have to book him, I don't think. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't high. It wasn't late. It wasn't, the bloke wasn't going to get hurt. It was stupid. He kicked him to foul, all the rest of it. But is it a booking? Could the ref have not done that? Question. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Right. Unfortunately, we've got to move to the FA Trophy now. Can we just as much as before we go into this?
And if you thought Clive was upset before, Swanee.
What a win against Truro this was. Now, FA Trophy, we all disappointed.
You can skip this bit, late Yellow Army. You can skip
the faff, first of all, of not playing Gosport and then playing a team that's lost to Gosport. Faff, right? Anyway, Clive, take us. You were there. You could take us. Right. You could take us for it.
Settle down, Swanee. Get comfortable.
Okay, so Kelly's Corner will be along in a minute, okay? And feel free to fast forward through this bit if you don't care about the FA Trophy. That's absolutely fine. There is a bigger picture involved here. I understand that. Bigger picture is we're desperate to get promoted at the end of the season, and we have a squad which is not as strong as we would ideally like it to be in certain areas, although we may go on to discuss how much it would be appropriate to try and change that. In terms of Saturday, as a travelling fan, I was just really disappointed with the way things were done. We've obviously got to about 2:15 in Worthing before the team comes out. If I'd known that's what the team was going to be on the morning or the day before, I might well not have gone to that game because we've not picked a striker and we've made it incredibly difficult for us to get a result against a decent side who were up for the challenge, who were playing on their own plastic pitch, which gives them a small advantage. I understand. Cody Cook, ideally, we wouldn't want to be playing him for 90 minutes every week. He is our only recognised centre forward. I do understand the desire to give him a break. I'm less sure why the defence had to be changed, given that we're already light of Jay Fulston back there, and that's quite a big weakness already, really. I thought the selection was setting the team up to fail, quite honestly. And of course, with some poor luck in the first couple of minutes with Thomas fluffing his lines, poor old Jordan Thomas, he gets sent off on New Year's Day. Then he gets stuck on the right wing. And then he misses from like 3 yards out. with a goal that he should have scored. I
And,
felt for him.
and now he's suspended on Saturday.
And now he's suspended on Saturday, and we're out of the trophy because we were 4-0 down at half time. The first goal is just a punt from the keeper right down the middle. And, I'm sorry, there were sort of vague Bishop's Cleeve flashbacks to that, really. They looked all at sea at the back there. Palmer's done nothing wrong, really, this season when he's been called upon. But him and Dreyer had an absolute nightmare. Nobody covered themselves in glory. And I was a bit surprised how strong the manager was on the players afterwards, because admittedly they didn't play very well, but he picked a team without a striker and people out of position. Moose is being expected to play up front. Thomas is being expected to play on the right wing. I'm not expecting the team to be announced on a Friday afternoon. I'm not an idiot, but if there'd been any indication that, you know what, we might not play our strongest team on Saturday, that would have been helpful to know.
I agree. Very well done, Clive. Yeah, I agree. I think it's just I understand it, of course, but when you're saying when we want to go for the FA Trophy a bit and you're playing Worthing, I'm talking about like mental games with our opponents now. I want to win this battle mentally. It's such a big thing. Every time it's a new year and it's the same Talky Talk podcast, because we're going, well, yeah, Worthing a good team, aren't they? Best team we've seen. Every year we've done this we beat them, they're still a good team. When they battered us 3-0, 4-2 last season. I want to get in their minds for the rest of the season. That could be a playoff game. I don't want to give them, okay, we might have lost that game 2-1, whatever. I don't want to give these people an ounce of a thought. On the other hand, it might just be a bit of a kick up the backside we needed in some ways. That's fine. Sometimes it all goes wrong in one game and then they go, right, pick yourselves up. But I don't want to be giving them mental things. I know no one wanted to, but if we're serious about this title, we've got to really, and it still would be a great achievement to come second or third. And if we win the playoffs, who cares, honestly? But we've worked so hard to get to where we are now. I don't want to be giving little mental advantages to our opponents right now. And I know we're still top of the league. And if we win on Saturday, always back to normal. But just, I was a bit shocked, let's just say it, when I opened my phone. I've been doing a few music bits. Oh, that's it. 4-0. I've been away with the ferries a bit that day. And it was just, that is not the signal I want to send out to anyone. So, and then I'll go into work, Torquaytالk Cup, and I have to explain, well, actually, we didn't play without striking. But, it's like, I just a bit uncomfortable about that. Fine, park it, move on. But Tom, Clive, anything to add? Tom, Chris, anything to add? Clive, you had enough.
Well, it was a bit of local pride for me because I live so close to Worthing. Of course, going into Sainsbury's earlier today, bumped into a Worthing fan, as you do. Nice chat, by the way. Thinks it was the best they've played all season, so I guess credit to them. I mean, I was thankfully work spared me the blushes and I ended up watching 9th versus 10th in Scottish League One. Inverness beating Dumbarton 2-0. So I think I had the better of the afternoon. We've praised Paul Watton and we all respect his honesty and his passion for the club. For that, there's no doubt. But I disagree that the blame is entirely not on him. I think the Bishop's Cleeve game, you can maybe harbour more of the blame on the players for that one. But I think a bit more blame has to go on Paul Watton for the way he set us up. They went up on the Friday, stayed in a hotel overnight. I think Worthing paid for that. I think it's in part of the trophy or something they have to do. But if you're going to set up all professionally and then not really take it seriously, it's a bit of an insult for the fans that were there. And I think we had 400, Clive.
Well, certainly 200-300, yeah.
200-300.
Can I just say, sorry, I still think there's enough talent on that pitch to win that game or come close. As much as it's so easy in hindsight to say, if we come off the game and win 1-0.
It's not in hindsight. It was a 1/4. You saw the team, you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah. I don't think it shouldn't happen that bad though. There's enough talent, like Palmer and there's enough talent to
Worthing
get a result of that game.
Worthing took the game seriously. We didn't take it particularly seriously, and we've ended up being thrashed. And I suppose the only positive you can say from it's happened in the trophy. It's not happened in a league game. It's happened where points weren't on the line.
Money's lost though.
And I agree with you, Swanee. It's these mental advantages. We've conceded 9 goals at Worthing in the games we've played there. We're averaging 4.5 goals conceded against Worthing. and that's only
Yeah,
two
I know
games
a lot of this team
away.
weren't there, but
You know
again,
what I
as a
mean?
fan's point of view, yeah, and we've got to go to them, and got to go to
So
them.
for me, it's a
It's
a frustrating result. I'm hoping it's one that will humble us a little bit and get us back in the right, right frame of mind. But it puts a lot of pressure on us for Saturday. Welling's at home is going to be a difficult game in theory. They're going to make it difficult. I know.
we manage
I
our
know
own
they're
pressure.
struggling this season, but again, these teams come to play more and sit back, and they tend to be the games
We've
we
got to
struggle
ask
to break
questions,
teams down.
quick
So we've
start.
got to ask the questions. But personally, for me, it's just I really fancied us in the trophy this year. I really did. And you look at the draw; it's a home tie against Rochdale or Stockton Town or something. So home advantage. I think I'm more annoyed for the Northern-based girls because they're not going to have a Northern trip anywhere this season. But
I,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't go, so I don't have the emotion that Clive had because I wasn't there. So I fully accept that. But I'm a little bit more relaxed about it because obviously I wasn't there for a start. So as I said, but I mean, I think the trophy is very much a tournament that whilst you're in it, you make all the right noises. You say, yeah, we want to win it. Yeah, we're 4 games from Wembley, whatever it is. But the reality of where we are and what our priorities are this season, being out of it is not the end of the world. The how, not the what, is probably the situation here, isn't it? In that, if we'd have gone there, I'd have given it a good go, got beaten 1-0, then you go, oh well, never mind. But going there to, let's be honest, to Worthing, I think are probably the best side I've seen at playing more this season. I thought Truro have looked good a couple of times I've seen them, but I think Worthing probably played the best football. But I think that's the mental issue. Yeah, the issue is we've gone there and got hiding, which is not what you want. So in terms of the team selection, I think what's bizarre for me is the fact that we do go direct quite a lot. We do go diagonally with long balls a lot, play off Cody, win headers, ping people in. So without him there, I don't know how we thought we were going to win the game. I think it's a damning indictment on Ben Seymour because he's back at the club, was on the bench. So if you're not going to play Cook, fine, okay. If that's what you want to do, fine. I think in the longer term aspirations with the amount of games we've got this month as well, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But you'd just chuck Seymour in, wouldn't you?
Yeah. This is why I'm surprised. This is why I'm surprised we let Ash go to Bath.
Yeah, but it tells you what. But it tells you where Ash and Seymour are. We're prepared to let Ash go. We've got Seymour back. I assume we've got Seymour back, so we can try and offload him because he's nowhere near the matchday squad.
It didn't go well at Bath, did it?
But
no, I don't think so. So
that makes it more disrespectful though to the Yellow Army. Like you've got a striker, at least play. You might not rate him, but play him. At least play someone who's recognised in that position. Yeah. It's a bit of an insult to the travelling fans who went, in my opinion.
But you don't. But equally, having said that, you don't set up a team to lose. If we'd have played with a striker and got beaten 3-0, then there's less of an
striker,
issue.
Chris.
I know, I know it sounds stupid.
But he's done that for a reason, hasn't he? He's done that for a reason, hasn't he?
I know he's done it for a reason, but had Gary Johnson set us up without a striker, he would have been rightly lynched by us. So
yeah, it's a point of discussion.
Can you tell me, did Musa play up front? Or was it like a Spanish 4-6-0?
Oh, Christ knows. He was in the middle and he was the furthest player forward.
So. Because I have said off camera, I said after the Truro game, I think Musa has a profile, it doesn't look like it now, as a profile of a striker. So if we sit here, right, and another day and he scores up front and we're all saying, oh, genius, and we don't need Seymour. That's what I'm saying. This whole no striker, I just think it was a gamble. It clearly hasn't worked. And the attack probably wasn't for once, the attack wasn't the problem. Actually, we've conceded 5 goals. But if Musa's playing up front, I think Musa has the ability, has the stature and something who can actually play as a modernised striker, but it clearly hasn't worked. So I don't actually buy we've played without a striker. Personally, that's all I see it as. But still, I agree with points.
Yeah, I just think but what I do, like I said, I mean, no manager sets up to lose a game. You can lose a game 8-0, and you don't set up to lose a game 8-0. But I just think in the longer term, there's just got to be a little bit careful that everyone doesn't jump off the deep end about it. Because actually, in terms of the longer term aspiration, when we're sat here with the championship trophy at the end in the middle of April,
isn't it?
Yeah, and that's but ultimately, I think that's the thing. So in the longer term aspirations, not having to go to Maidstone on a Tuesday night in March now and all that kind of stuff, it's probably not the end of the world. But like I said, I think that it's the how, not the what, that's upset people. And
if we get promoted, we'll forget what happened at Worthing. We forget what happened at Bishop's Cleeve. All people will be talking about is talking about
absolutely
the National League.
But it's bizarre, Clive, and you're the only one's been at both. I think that both of our absolutely rotten performances, because there's an argument that all the 3 games we've lost in the league we could have won or at least deserved to get something out of. But the 2 cup departures, both away from home, both on on artificial services have been absolutely rotten, stinking, dreadful performances. Not, we got beaten 1-0 on the day by Bishop Stadium. They've both been absolutely rotten. So it does question if there is it a mentality thing? Is it a plastic pitch thing? What is it? I don't know. It's just stating the fact, I guess, but it's strange.
It is weird. It is strange. I do agree. I do agree. Should we go into Kelly's corner? Interesting. It is interesting. It's a very interesting one. I think it's the manner, isn't it? And I totally agree. I'm a bit more annoyed by it now than I was on Saturday, because if I was in Clive's shoes and all the travelling Yellow Army shoes, I'd be so much more annoyed. Does that make sense? Like, you get annoyed with your team is
definitely.
But the manner of it, like, it's even worse now. Like, I was quite cross at the time. I want to see a team get battered, but I was a little bit like, one game, yeah. If we go and win 1 or 2-0 at the weekend, then it's like, right, we parked it. But I don't. It just shows fine lines in football. We need to be really smart on the pitch and with the mental games as well going forward. And that wasn't that smart.
I think just really quickly talking about the travelling support, it was decent again. I don't know how many there were, but it was like a shallow terrace behind the goal, and we sort of covered all it. It wasn't rammed, but we covered all of it. I'd have thought 200, 300. People were quite angry about the team selection, but they never got on the players' backs. And as Watton said afterwards, they did get a clap off at the end. So people in general sort of accepted it. And yes, we can move on from it. It's that thing. It's the communication, because it's difficult, because they're obviously never going to come out and say this isn't a priority. We might play a weakened team. And actually, that's what you'd want to happen as a fan, so you can make a choice about whether to do the trip. So it is difficult. I get that there's a little bit of ambiguity with these things always. But yeah, I fully accept there is a bigger picture. I just feel it could have been done differently.
Yeah.
I agree. Right, Tom, take us away.
Right. Into the first Kelly's Corner of 2025. So we want to know your top priorities you think the club needs to ensure a successful second half of the season for Torquay United Football Club. Thank you once again to everyone who has contributed. We love hearing from you, and plenty of contributors this week. We start with Nick Potkins, who says a second striker, keep believing. And then we move on to Rachel. Evening, Rachel. She says, as much as I like the Hayfield, Will Jenkins Davies and Hassani dynamic, we really need an Asa Hall type character from 2020 to 21 to 21 to 22 type player. Breaks the attacks down, is no slouch defensively, has a keen eye for spotting a key forward pass and wading in with a goal or 7. As most people have said, Cook needs support too. And I think you'll find that kind of develops a theme going into the rest of the comments. So Alan Wills says top priority for him would be to maintain an average of 2 points per game for the rest of the season. I'm actually quite optimistic that we could go the whole season without losing at home, which would definitely help. We've got Matt Late, who says Alan makes a good point about aiming to keep the 2 points a game for the rest of the season. A couple of things that he thinks will help is having a striker that will help Cody. If he gets injured, then I think we are screwed. And also that we need a proper hard nut defensive midfielder back there. Paul Mulhern says at least one striker, but probably 2. One in the mould of Cook and a proverbial poacher. A bastard in midfield, not Paul though, and another keeper to at least challenge Hammond, if not be better. But Paul's not greedy though. Who's next? Oh, the editor, Dom. Good evening, Dom. He says another striker or 2 to help out Cook, as others have mentioned. More aggression in our away performances. And gaining more from Omar Musa. 1 goal so far this season isn't enough for a player of his capabilities.
Yeah, totally agree with that. We were saying that. I was saying that on Boxing Day. Absolutely right. 1 goal.
Our friends at the Torquay United Travel Club have said to sign another striker to support Cook up top. If we want to win this league, he'll need help up there. We've got Jonathan Jones, who says we've had 4 strikers in August, 2 of which are out on loan till season's end. 1 is presumably joining them, leaving Cook on his own. We need at least 1 more striker to come in and help Cody out. There's Joe Uggs, who says priority has to be backup for Cook, or even someone who can be used alongside or instead of him, so we are less reliant on him playing 90 minutes every week. Also gives us an option for the last 20 minutes of games when he can look a little leggy, which, in fairness, is understandable. There's Chris Braun, who says, I think a striker, defensively okay. We must keep our unbeaten home run form going. We've got BBC radio commentator Joseph Terry, who says, second striker in case the knocks get to Cook, and a better exit or entry system into Playmore on the busy match days with large crowds. That will hopefully keep coming. There's at Disco Barry, who says, as with most posters, we need at least one or maybe two strikers to give Cook a hand. Think we'll also need a ball winner in midfield in the mode of Tom Lapsley. We've got Steve, who says, definitely another striker or two, a solid defensive midfielder who can break up the play and allow our attacking players to attack quicker. We've got the TUSC supporter, who says we need to bring in a couple of players, mostly in attack and in goal. He says in brackets Kovalan. We should also have to keep up the amazing attendances because the atmosphere makes Playmore feel like a fortress. And finally, there is Ollie, who says we need to keep making Playmore a fortress, and we need a hold-up striker all day. So that's all of the Kelly's Corners responses. Thank you, everyone, for the first one of the year. Happy New Year to you all, and let's have a very successful 2025.
I agree. Thank you, Tom.
Just on that, Swanee, if you look at the squad just in general, if you look, we've already lost, well, not lost. Tonks and Jeffers have gone back, which I think is fair. Jeffers just didn't work to need it, like a kid who didn't really get in the squad, really, particularly.
He did score a great goal, but...
don't start me on that again. Tonks, now we've got Thomas. Thomas is just a better version of Tonks, isn't he? So obviously he's then immediately got himself sent off, but... Krask's fit now, isn't he? And of course, Palmer can play at right back as well. So I guess that's okay. I can't see Jack Wood staying beyond the original loan, which I think runs out after this week. As much as anything,
short corner at Weymouth in the last kick of the game. I'm sorry, he might be a good player. Yeah. He lost me there. He lost me.
But again, if you're Southend, if you're Southend, you sent him out to come and play on loan, and he's not playing, is he? So why would you want him to stay with us? So there's definitely room for manoeuvre in terms of the numbers. Presumably we're going to try and chip out Seymour as well because he's clearly not in the plans, is he? So there's definite room for development. But everyone's saying we need a second striker, we need a Cook type player. I totally agree, but it's well known, isn't it? It's the hardest thing in the world to find, isn't it? A goal scorer and a striker who's going to come in and make a difference. And actually what we need is someone who's going to come in and make a difference, and someone who's going to come in and say to Cody, actually, you ain't playing every week because I'm as good as you, I'm better than you, and I'm going to score goals, so I'm going to challenge you for your place.
How do you find that? How do you find
really
a
hard
player to go, give me a really promising youngster? He won't be playing unless Cody Cook's playing, unless we need a goal and you play up front with him. That's a very difficult situation, I understand. And for me, I agree with all the midfield. We need a Asa Hall kind of, but we've got a lot of numbers in central midfield now. And, I'm no expert on, I am actually.
Threlkeld and Hayfield kick people. I mean,
we've got them already. The midfield, I think, is fine. I sometimes want a bit more for them, but with the amount of players we have, I don't think there'll be space for another midfielder. But the fact that we've got one striker, if you're saying Seymour probably will go and all that stuff, that's where any available budget needs to go now, whether it's short-term loan or just something like that. That's the priority of where the squad is now. I agree.
But I think also as well, in January, everyone wants Clive. And in January, everyone wants a striker, don't they? Everyone wants that player that's going to make a difference. So unless we're going to go
two clubs,
exactly, so at our level, February is renowned for being the big month, not January, isn't it? Because of course, when everyone's signed the players that they want and can have, and it's what's left for the rest of the season. Effectively, it's where non-league clubs come into it. So unless you've got 50 grand to go and sign someone in your league's top goal scorer, or more, which might be the case in the top goal scorer in our league, it ain't going to happen, is it? So you've got to find something that's going to supplement and improve what you've already got, and it's not easy.
No, but let's look at the games we've got this month. What we got: Welling this at home on Saturday, away to St Albans, and Hampton and Richmond at home. That on paper they're three winnable games.
Slough away and Chippenham away as well. Two midweekers.
Got those as well.
So, but they're all winnable, aren't they? Let's be honest, they all are.
Yeah.
I think, just turn up the yellows, get in their heads, put some corners in a box, put some long balls into it. Easy.
But I agree with Tommy. What Tommy said, I think, is right on the money. This away form is massive. The home form should stand up, but that away form, can we go to Slough on a Tuesday night on a plastic pitch and get 3 points?
It's a difference between title and playoffs, isn't it?
Absolutely. But that's what's going to decide it.
3 points at Slough last year, didn't they? Not that I was
there. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we should have been 5 down at half time, mind you.
Just on the squad, yes, of course, we need to get some backup for Cody Cook if we can. Chris said it best, really, in terms of is there, and I put it as a question rather than a statement, is there any spare money in the budget? We do need to try and always remember that it's important not to overspend. I understand speculate to accumulate. I understand don't throw away a golden opportunity, but equally don't throw away your future by going mental if you can't afford it. And that's
only get assets as well, not a player that might
well,
be good for a year and then go in a year.
Talk of signing Tyler Harvey is rubbish, and I don't care whether Paul Watton wants him because there's no resale value, and he's 29, and he's got no record of scoring goals any higher than this division. So
I don't want him. If that rumor is true, I don't want him.
Agreed.
I don't want him. I want
Dylan on Saturday.
The last two signings, excellent assets, players that can grow. I want to keep with that mold. I know Tyler Harvey is an incredible player in this division. Didn't show at the weekend, much to our defence, but I agree. I know there's that claim every year, twice a year. I think we get the Tyler Harvey link, don't we? But we've got to be. I don't want to start throwing money like that, and then I want assets that will grow. We've got to do this properly still. So I know we're all excited about new signings. I know we've gone out and spent the money on the last two signings, which are brilliant business. Young.
I don't think this is going to happen though either. It ain't going to happen, is it? Everything you've seen of the owners, what makes you think they're going to go right? Do you know what? Sod it. Let's spend $100,000. I mean, it's just not. It's just not.
Get me a striker on loan if you can in February, or get me someone. We talked about in Talkie Talk. We're just speculating now. You've got a lot of players have left Western on loan, so he's probably going to go Western Supermare. Well, I forgot the name of the striker. The one's just left Plymouth Parkway, the ex-Saloni. But
he's gone on loan to Bath.
Bath already. Right, a player like that, ideally. A player like that already. That's what it needs to be realistically, in my opinion. Which are not loads about, but I agree. All that I'm glad we brought it actually, because I always say I don't do rumours. I don't like putting rumours on Talkie Talk, but that's one you hear every 2 years. I prefer the club to remain sustainable. I know we don't have an agree, but that's our opinions.
And actually, then the beauty of this, and everyone that tweets in and we talk with Kelly's Corner is everyone's opinion is fascinating, isn't it? But recruitment is relatively simple. It's about getting people in that are better than what you've already got. Doing that's the hard bit. but actually, in terms of what you're trying to do to improve what you've got, you don't. And I think at times under Johnson, we were guilty of just signing players for the hell of it. And actually, they weren't players that made a difference. Yeah, exactly. So actually, okay, will this player improve us? Which is what, and you're right, Swanee, Young, Morgan, Thomas, have they made us better? Geez, they have, yeah. So actually, where's the next one? Where can we find someone who's going to give us what we need, where we need it, and is going to make us better?
Well, one player light, in my opinion. One player light, I think, at this stage. And I don't know the budget. I would have kept Ash if we weren't going to get another striker in. I know Ash, we all have different opinions.
Yeah.
There's just something there, isn't it? I believe we can get better than Ash, of course. But it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see.
He's always been a nuisance at this level.
Yeah.
Sometimes twice as well, but he's been a nuisance to opposition. And he scored a lot of goals last season. When we were editing that documentary, we forget he scored a lot of crucial goals last season. That one was against Truro. He scored some big goals at times. That cannot be forgotten.
Yeah.
But I think Bath is a good step for him, personally.
But that was played off a big man.
Bath.
Yeah. He played off Jarvis a lot last year and off other forwards. In this system as a 4-3-3, he's not physical enough to play down the middle. He's not quick enough to play out wide, is he? So I think that's why he's been moved on. But he scored 14 goals. You can't sniff at that, can you?
No. Good luck to him.
It's still in our hands. We're still in control of our own destiny as things stand.
Win every game. That's it.
Let's just enjoy it. I know it's been a bit of a weird Christmas period, hasn't it? But just enjoy it. Just I think warning signs there though. You've just got to. I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the season. Probably won't put it too much. If you had to say to me now, I'd still say maybe Bournemouth and teams like might pip us. But if we can get second or third, I'd back us to the hills in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So, let's have fun, Yellow Army.
And now Chris is going to tell us how much we're going to smash Welling by.
Oh, yeah.
No, Chris is not going to tell you that. No.
It's a
game. They're playing tonight. They're playing tonight, aren't they? What they say Tuesday. I think they're playing tonight. So, they're struggling, aren't they? At home you fancy against anyone, but I think what's interesting is I don't think we're going to thrash anyone.
Yeah.
Just because of how we're set up, I don't see us turning up. If you catch somebody, we could have scored 5 or 6 against Chippenham, but other than that, I think the scorelines have been about right at home. So I don't see us thrashing anyone. But I would be happy with 3-0 win, let's say. I'll be outlandish
I'll
for
be
this
happy with a
weekend.
1-0 win.
Well, yeah, no, quite. Yeah, quite. But I'd be happier still with a
I'm
3-0
going
win.
2-0. Yeah, 2-0.
Okay.
Go on, Clive.
Yeah, clean sheet, 2-0. That'll do.
Yeah, Tom.
3-1.
Oh,
Perfect. There we are. Right. So, thank you for watching, everyone. We're putting one episode this week, actually. Definitely. Yeah, it's been fun. Been nice to get us a little bit. Whoa, but if we're going through that documentary. Thanks to everyone who supported. Mike, can we just speak a little bit about that? Me and Tom, right? We had this pretty last minute. We had the idea in November, and then come to it. We put in 2 12-hour days, right? It was mad. Like, you test everything in that time, especially when it gets to the point where putting all bit, and Tom points out to me about 40 hours in. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of a photo missing there. But it was brilliant. We were on like Zoom, and I was like screen sharing, and Tom Blessing was getting all the images together. I spent hours planning, going through all the goals I view. It was brilliant. I loved it. I've always wanted to do a documentary like that, and it was like a bucket list thing. And what a year it was to do it. I'm so proud of the way it turned out as well. And I think it was a bit daunting at first. I was like, I had a vision of it in my mind, and it turned out well. Two things I've done differently was maybe date it, but Torquay fans watching it, they know what happened, like the actual month of it. But wow, what a time! What a time! That is brilliant. I think 2024 was such a big year for us, and just every Torquay fan, and we forget a big part to play actually, because we didn't stay quiet. Even the amount of times you could tell,
never.
Yeah, it was horrible. We did not stay quiet, and we overturned things. We sort of changed this modernized media, and we took it forward, really, didn't we? And we did our bit. So I think it was a pat on the back for that as we got, and all thanks to the amazing. And we couldn't do it without all the people that watched over the time. And we built this really respectful but powerful community with the Tust and everything like that to get our football club back and look where we are now. So. Yeah, I am delighted with all that, and thank you so much. All the amazing messages we got from that. I'm not doing one again. We've peaked there. We've peaked there. Unless we get promoted, we'll do that. But yeah, we'll leave it in the hands of other people. That's our documentary day's done. Quit at the top, I say. But thank you for watching this episode. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks to all the people writing every week, and we'll see you next week.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Hargreaves, the captain! If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells!